All right, beautiful people. Welcome to another citizen assembly. This call, as all calls, is going to be a rather special one. We have France joining us. You have all seen her speak up the last couple sessions and drop some incredibly beautiful wisdom. So I've asked her to, if she would like to start off this call, helping us drop in and ground into this space. So my role is going to be continuing to let people in, and I will, without further ado, pass it over to the beautiful France and let her take it away for us.
Hi, everybody. Yay. I just want us to take a moment before we get very serious to congratulate ourselves and really celebrate showing up. And some of you might have had intense weeks. And so really coming in here and being present, so grateful for that. And so today, I just wanted to share that I've been in contemplation of what this constitution is and what this meeting is about today. And I think the two keywords that popped out from Reiki's notes were digestion and integration. And that made me circle back to what Anna Luce said about, in her beautiful opening, about how the Constitution is a magnetizer. And what Cece said in sharing the Ho'oponopono practice with us, and that starting with, I'm sorry. So what really came through for me was this question of presence. How do we show up? What are we bringing here today? Because we're also beacons, right? So the question of presence, and I guess in a way, coherence and hygiene. How are we feeling? You know, what kind of attractive field are we bringing today? So I actually want to do something a little bit different today and just tune into our bodies, because I think, like a lot of people here, probably are really good at tuning in, and incredible wisdom, incredible knowledge, incredible thinking, incredible feeling. But how can we be integrated wholes? Because we're manifesting in a 3D reality. So are we fully embodied as we're doing that and drawing down? Can we really sense into our sensorium, which is our bodies, our skin, that full body goosebumps, that is the inner knowing? Because consciousness is contagious, right? So what do we want to propagate? And that's really the question and invitation. And I want to start with some shaking, because I'm a little bit nervous too, and I can hear it in my voice. So let's stand up or sit down if you want to stay there, and if you want to turn your cameras off. And we're gonna flex our knees a bit, just gently, and start bouncing. Shake off your hair, and let that shaking come through the pelvis. And then your whole body, yeah! And I believe a wise lady called Taylor Swift said, shake it off. So we're gonna shake it off. I'm gonna shake it in too. Anna Luce made a point about how this wisdom is all encoded in our DNA already. And so let's get that frequency going. Let's vibrate and shake. And if you feel called to, you can also loosen your voice. What authentic voice wants to come through today? Sometimes we're a little bit caught up in what we think we should say, or what we think is wisdom or knowledge. And actually something a little bit different sometimes comes through when we're free, which is our pure state. I'm going to tone. Feel free to join. Ooh, And I invite you to really tune into your bodies and know that that's your inner guidance. Body doesn't lie. Your inner guidance never lies. Always knows. The center of that is your heart. So you're shaking. Maybe you want to tone. You feel that vibrate in your heart. Ah. And now we slow down a bit. Notice the sensations. Ooh. Let's take a few deep breaths here to really enjoy that. Tuning in. Your heart is an incredible beacon. I think if you go into Heart Math Institute, it says 50 times more powerful than your brain. So this is a locus of magic. Beautiful. And so now let's take a seat back down. How did that feel? Thank you for sharing so transparently and enjoying that with us. Beautiful. And so one of the things that I really wanted to share was that we are designed for ease and grace and to trust ourselves, and we've forgotten that. And so how can we quickly tap into this, tune into this? And one of the things I found really useful is to imagine your skin, like kind of like a sausage casing, could be vegan if you like, and the blood inside of it coursing through your body like a shell. And that is what I call the sensorium. So your like detector field. Are you intact? Are you embodied? As you're receiving information and putting information out. I've found that it's an incredible tool for manifestation in the 3D. Being really present. Tuning into discernment. And so now feeling your body from the inside out. Invite that wisdom, that cosmic wisdom to come through from the top of your head and to radiate it out with your breath through your heart. Perhaps you notice a tingling at the top of your head. But please stay in your body. Remember the sausage casing. And notice that sensitivity with the purity of your being through your heart. And let's bring that to these conversations today. That wisdom and that presence. I'd also invite you to join me in reciting a couple of mantras, we can call them. And it goes like this. I'm here. I'm now. I'm pure. I'm presence. I am. I'm here. I'm now. I'm pure. I'm presence. I am. I am here. I am now. I am pure. I am present. I am now. And I don't think it's any different, but we can say it with a we as well. We are here. We are now. We are pure. We are presence. We are. We are here. We are now. We are pure. We are presence. We are. And so this presence, this pure being, is the ground of infinite potential. Physics will tell you that. Metaphysics will tell you that. Exodus 3:14, I am, will tell you that. And we did that in a few minutes. And we can tune into this at any time. It is our God-given right to tune into our divinity and our inner wisdom, our inner love and compassion. So let's be coherent and resonate that. And be amazing beacons and attractors and ground that into this constitution. Thank you so much. I love you.
Thank you, Franz. I love you too. I think that's an incredibly beautiful way to start this. Here, let me move the spotlight. Okay. So I'm going to start this one off with a little story. Everyone hold on to that little spark of inspiration we're holding on to, because I figured out how to do breakout rooms this week. So we're going to do that in just a second. But I want to drop in 2 ideas that we could cover during the breakout session. And I'll start this one off with a little bit of a story. So some of you might have read Sapiens. I guess they're like, one perspective of the history of our current civilization. And it gave the reason that why, the particular Anglo-Saxon culture was so notorious for going and navigating the world is because they put empty spots on their map. Why other maps declared to be complete, so there wasn't anything to explore. We started making maps that had intentional empty spaces that encouraged us to go and explore. Unfortunately, that resulted in domination and all the terrible things we know about, but there's still that beautiful idea of leaving that empty space. So we've actually intentionally done that in the Constitution. So let me bring that up. Now we have 2 really beautiful empty spaces that I would love to get some collective wisdom here to decide what we want to put in these spaces. So let me bring this up. And then what we're going to do is we'll break out into some breakout rooms in groups of 3, discuss this collectively, share our wisdom, and then come back together and harvest that wisdom in the group. So first one, and we're going to do a breakout room one at a time, is we have this Article 5, Stewardship Responsibilities. I'll make this a little bit bigger. So we have this stewardship word that we've said a lot in the Constitution. We've brought it up multiple times. It's all speckled throughout. Is this idea that we are stewards of this earth. A steward means it's not dominion and owner of this earth. It means that we could cultivate a healthier, more beautiful and diverse environment. And humans have the capacity to create those diverse environments or destroy them, which it doesn't seem like very many other species have that drive or capacity. So what are our responsibilities? What are we going to put into this Constitution that, one, can be enforceable? So that's what's really interesting about a Constitution is we could say words, but if there's no way of backing that up or bringing that into code or somehow, creating that ability in the game guide to have those outcomes, then it's a phrase without any backing behind it, so to speak. So have that in mind. So here's some open gaps: is what are our responsibilities as stewards on this earth? So with that question in mind, I'll stop this sharing and I will go into some breakout groups. So we're going to do this for about 10 minutes. So we'll give about 3 minutes per person to be able to share, 1 minute to kind of harvest that, and then assign somebody to then share what the group gathered when we come back together. All right, so let's see. So we're going to do 7 breakout rooms. Perfect. And I will see you all here very shortly. Okay. All right. Thanks, Gary. Welcome all back. I hope you all assigned someone to do your harvest gathering. So that's what we'll do right now, is we'll have each person from each circle kind of speak up. We'll give about 30 seconds to a minute to do this. So it'll take about 7-8 minutes. And I will just write down the major harvests as we do so. So let's kind of keep this popcorn style because I don't know who to call on. So whoever wants to speak up first, feel free to just unmute yourself and get going.
I can go. Do you hear me well?
We can.
I'll close the video to make sure that it stays that way. I was with Max and Jason, and we figured out the following sentence we tended to agree with, which is understanding the objective consequences of our actions while aligning ourselves with nature and the way we live, and support all good projects and good and regenerative, sorry, not projects, but good and regenerative actions coming our way, all within the best of our abilities to the extent of pragmatism and realism. Just to explain a bit, as an example, if you are doing a lot of things that are regenerative, and for example, you're a food waste creator, but at the same time, you do buy sometimes things wrapped with plastic in the supermarket because you really need them, and you cannot really actively work right now on a solution for it, then you are doing to the best of your abilities. And if you do see on your way an initiative to eliminate that plastic, of course, you will support it and try to help with doing that as well. So add whatever you can to your life within what is feasible to make sure that we are good stewards of our planet.
Yep, beautiful. Who would like to share next? Go for it, Julia.
I can go.
Or Jess.
Okay, cool. So I was in with Trent and Paul. We didn't come to a collective answer, so there were like 3 perspectives. Trent's perspective was he really appreciated how in the Discord group, there's a person named Soren who is answering questions for people and helping people understand and align with the Constitution. From other blockchain projects I'm involved in, I understand there's like this concept of an oracle, someone that when all blockchain and technology fails, they're a source of wisdom that you go to. And so Trent felt like one of the ways that we would be good stewards is to make sure that there were people that could help. There were these oracles, these type of people like Soren that would help people understand what the rules were, that people could go to, and that they would help just increase overall awareness about how do we be good stewards of the earth. The way you be good stewards is make sure there's someone that can help people know how to be good stewards. And then Paul's perspective was it would be great to collectively agree to have a process to ensure that the goals of seeds regarding stewardship and care of the earth are met. And then my contributions were around soil and food. I feel like soil regeneration is absolutely vital. And then the awareness of soil regeneration. I went through 12 years of school and 4 years of college and never once ever heard anything about the importance of soil. So how would we measure that? I mean, I would imagine in every school curriculum from the time a child is a kindergartner, that soil regeneration and how are we dealing with it would be a measurement of, are we teaching the young of future generations, and is it in the education system, you know, that it's so important. And then I watched the recording from the last Constitution. I really appreciated Ava's perspective on the food and it being life-giving. So as we feed people, that we make sure it's life energy-giving food. Oh, and I did write down Paul's statement here. We not only endeavor to take stewardship of the earth, but that we enact practices that will regenerate the natural ecosystem of the earth.
Incredible. Thanks, Jess. Julio.
Hi there. So I was with Diana on group 7, and we ended up with 3 bullet points, kind of. So the first one is collective sensing and reflecting on these perceptions. The second one is coherence building. So building coherence based on all this sense that we gathered collectively, and then action driven by this collective consciousness that was created. So it's kind of general, but this action based on this collective consciousness means you can do wherever you want, but if you are tapping into this collective wisdom that is being built, so you are naturally acting as like an arm of the planet, like a limb of the planet, right? So you are like becoming one, because by this collective sensing, each of us can sense a small bit of the reality that the planet is sensing. So when we share and we gather this information, and we are able to really act with this kind of consciousness. So yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Who else would like to share?
So I was with Mark in our breakout room. I think it was breakout room 3. So we had a really great conversation, and he shared as well a Tom Chi quote, which was really nice, where humanity should be becoming a net positive to nature, and everything that we really do should be achieving that. So we were kind of looking at things should go much further even than just the tangible. It should go through to the spiritual as well. And so in addition, we should be looking at really conscious consumption, and kind of what we eat, what we wear, how we consume water, and all of these things, and maybe have like alternatives or opportunities for people to educate themselves, but also for options to implement change and to be a part of that change as well. We had a short discussion about the significance of the 7 generations. Perhaps that was something to do with indigenous cultures, or something to do with kind of really stabilizing that in a really pure way, so that would impact change long term. But it's something that we were still discussing. So yeah, that was from us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do a real quick plug on that 7 generations. So some of the cultures, it was so firmly embedded because, again, this is only some of the cultures. They believed in the reincarnation, that they would come back after 7 generations. So it was very near and dear to them because they thought 7 generations ahead, because that would be them reincarnated. So they were creating the world for themselves. So it wasn't necessarily, selfless. It was very selfish, because it's like, man, I have to think 7 generations because that's the life I'm going to have to live. So that's where that belief was built into action. I think that's maybe any philosophy that we adopt is like, how does that philosophy affect our actions and behavior? If that philosophy is nihilistic and you really love Nietzsche and that causes you to be a little bit depressed and maybe antisocial, maybe it's a philosophy we don't necessarily need to align with. Anyway, Martin, you wanted to go?
Yeah, I was in the group with Nicholas, and we had a beautiful discussion topic, touching on a lot of topics. I think the essence of what we came up with was that really the stewardship has to start first and foremost with ourselves, with our evolution, with our consciousness, with our journey we're on, and then everything else pretty much falls in place or should fall in place.
Easy, beautiful, yes. Do we have any other gardeners wanting to share their harvest? Let's do this for about 1 more minute. So let's be a little bit quick so we can have 1 more breakout session.
Okay, ours is really quick. Can I go?
Yes.
Okay, do no harm. Just the fact that if we just stop all the harm we do, it will be, yeah, the earth's going to be fine without us. So we can start with that one.
Easy. Where's the other gardeners?
Hello.
Fish, what do you got?
Okay, so what came up was listening. We're so used to having everything so quickly and everything straight, like, you know, we don't even know what the earth can really provide. So listening to what the earth can actually provide and changing our consumption accordingly. Being closer to the people that share your purpose and vision and actually making things happen. The shared economy came up, as well as other things. Yeah, I mean, we've all heard of things such as the Venus Project, but it's like, where are the real examples and how can we actually come together to make something happen? And so action would be a huge one. So that's it.
Beautiful. Okay, do we have 1 more gardener? Okay. Let me let this one person in. So I'll do my little piece that I want to add to this, and that's, you know, one practical takeaway we could build into the seeds, and this is what excited me about how we're distributing voice, is that in each bioregion, or we can very consciously throughout different bioregions on our planet, give voice to the earth stewards that have been living there for many, many centuries and millennia. So if there are existing cultures who are living close to the land and have those traditions that they've been upkeeping and withholding, it would be a really beautiful pattern for bioregions to give a large portion of their voice to those earth stewards to be able to be part of that decision-making process and bring that wisdom to the table. So that's something I feel like we can bring into this constitution. Okay, so now that was incredible. There's a lot of harvest. I'll digest that. I'll try to put together some practical takeaways and put that into the constitution and see where we go from there. Now we have 1 more breakout session we'd love to do the same thing with, and it's a little bit more audacious, and that's because it's a pretty big hole. What we have here is Article 11, and that's it. It's a gap. So what are we missing in this constitution that we haven't touched on at all? So we can go pretty broad here, and it could be an entirely new article, whatever it is, if there's something that you feel really near and dear that we haven't touched on yet. So this is an opportunity for us to go pretty wide. So let's see here. Let's do another breakout room. Same idea, you'll probably be matched with some other random people. So there you go. Let's recreate these and off you all go. We will see you here in about 10 minutes. Welcome back. So we only have officially 5 minutes left, so I want to respect everyone's time, but we could sneak a little bit over for those who can stay. So we could be a little bit quick with this harvest gathering session. All right, who wants to go first?
Yes, I want to go first.
Take it, brother.
So we had a very fun call with Lumi and somebody else who just joined the call and randomly popped in just as his name was mentioned, basically. A 4th person appeared and they were talking about the avatar system and the karmic system. And so I feel like a good way to go for Article 11 would be to reach out to all the other conscious projects that are happening on the planet and to provide bridges to all of them so that they can all bridge into seeds. Because that's what they are doing, and that's why they are into seeds as well. So because there is a whole regenerative movement happening on the whole planet with all kinds of different systems and people, and they are meant to connect together. So if we have that in our constitution, it would be amazing. And I want to keep it very short.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just want to say hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Hi, Ricky. Nice to finally meet you face to face. I was just outside in nature relaxing because I didn't awake all night again, and I didn't know there was a call today. And then I had like this feeling, check my phone, and then I saw seeds, and then a butterfly landed on my phone, and a wasp flew around me. And it's like, oh, okay. And then I jumped on the call, and then literally I manifested when name was called. So it's like I was meant to be on this call. Great to see you all. Guess you're already aware of our world project and the Karma Avatar system that is just speaking about.
Ricky, we had exchange in the past in the Constitution group of seeds, and I shared about the avatar system being completely compatible with seeds. That's the only.
Fantastic. Let us just connect right after this. I want to do this harvest real quick, and then let's keep this going. Cool. Beautiful. So perfect.
I'll connect after Nicholas because it aligned. Like I was smiling and giggling because it aligned so much with what we said. We came to a collective statement, and I'll post it in chat to make it easier for you, Reiki. So collectively, it was David and Stefan were with me, and we came up with, in order to share the same vision and purpose, we need to help people raise their level of consciousness to ensure inclusion, but not through force, always leaving a door open for second chances. Raising human consciousness ensures that we're including others as ourselves and the earth as ourselves, and we will organically be drawn to our essence.
Yeah, if you could summarize that in the chat real quick. Yep, you did. Awesome. Martin, go for it.
We had a suggestion that Article 11 is like the magic article, the Joker article, which keeps changing like every 6 months, depending on whatever the needs are of the project. So you can vote on it, and it's like really focusing on the actual needs of the project. It's always going to be a different article.
Oof. Such a Joker thing to do. Oh, love it.
Hello.
Hello.
Can I just go?
Yep, please.
Cool. All right. So we discussed 3 different things that came up. We didn't come up with a title for Article 11, but what we did come up with is the idea of our individual self. Yes, seeds is a collective, but at the same time, realizing that we all have our own individual selves as well. The other thing that came up was self-work. It's not a one-time thing. Just because you've succeeded once and you feel great doesn't mean you're there yet. And so, putting in the regular self-work. And the third thing we came up with was it's bigger than just the planet Earth right now. We're about to go to Mars. We're going to the moon. We're going to all these things in space. How do we take our constitution out of just our planet and apply it to the greater whole? That was it.
Gardeners, there's a couple more of you here.
All right. Hey guys. It was me and Walter and Julio got together, and we got down to the reality that as this organism grows, there will probably be individuals that feel like their voice is they're losing voice as the organism gets larger, and maybe we considered that possibly many of the seeds might benefit from having a space with a little bit more vulnerability, maybe more like a fireside chat. And so we just discussed what the possibilities would be, or maybe what the process might look like for getting together in the smaller groups to really find out what's going on inside of the organism, and not so much on what's being constructed on the edges. So I think what came up was the logo gate. Maybe we learned something through going through that, and maybe that process might be shared and aligned into the Constitution potentially.
Beautiful. Do we have any other gardeners? Was that everyone? Did we miss anyone? Beautiful.
We didn't really have anything to add, so.
Go for it, Carly.
We just didn't have much to add. We all realized that either we haven't read the Constitution or just don't have anything to add.
Yep, no problem. All right, so before we close this out, I would like to give some space for two people. If there's any wisdom that people feel like they want to share into the space right now that they're feeling called to do so. Beautiful. So we're all...
I'm going, Ricky. I'd like to just mention about space. We talked about inner space and outer space, how basically both are extremely important. And when we talked about outer space, it was on very practical things, like right now, all sorts of satellites are going up into the atmosphere, blasting rockets off here, there, and everywhere. And so in the future, you know, like say, and seeds hopefully will have a long distant future, then it is increasingly important to recognize what we are doing in that space, especially to the close space that involves the planet. Just to sort of capitalize on that. And then of course the inner space. The inner space is, you know, so what we were very interested in was the space that you created.
Anyone else?
Hey, Reiki, real quick, I'll fill some time.
Perfect.
And I hope I'm not crashing. I joined Seeds, got on the Discord, saw this meeting, and kind of came in the spirit of open source. Okay, good. And I started just kind of a pitch. I started reading the Constitution aloud, trying to do an audiobooks of the old one, and posting it on Periscope, which feeds into Twitter, and then putting it also on the Hive blockchain. So I'm going to continue that throughout the weekend. And then when it gets updated, I'm going to improve my, even the production quality, right? Like I'm just kind of like screenshot, because I can't screen shoot from my phone on Periscope. I'm literally projecting out onto my laptop screen. So the idea, it doesn't have to be pretty, but two ways of doing it. One is kind of create the audiobooks of the Constitution so people can listen to it and putting in that medium. And second, I think that the next steps on all these platforms are going to be about onboarding. So whoever can create the biggest kind of like avenue to onboard, and this might get into that last, or the 2 comments ago, is to say that like that's how you build a tribe, and that's how you're going to build and sustain influence in this economy, is to onboard. So what we're using is co-makery, and I'm creating a little group that's literally just going to try to create avenues to bring people to a few different things. So there's my 2 minutes.
Incredible, Gregory. Most welcome. So let's close this out. We're just a few minutes over today, but we started a few minutes late, so I think we're perfectly on time. These weekly calls have been incredibly valuable, I think, for the community and for myself. So there's been a couple calls to actually continue on beyond the Constitution and actually weave this particular time that we've set aside into the Ambassador Academy. So that's when we get into the finer details and really start onboarding people, and rewards can be given to everyone for attending these and participating. And this is really an onboarding process, as Gregory just mentioned, and a co-creative process. I mean, it's just so incredible, all the wisdom that's coming to these meetings, that it'd be a really shame to let these dissipate. That's also what I gathered in this is, so much wisdom was shared here. I think, maybe 15 or 20% of it might apply to actually the Constitution, what we read into there. 100% of it applies to the movement and different protocols and patterns and elements that we need to be building in and that we can cultivate. So I'd love to continue with those patterns. So thank you all so much. I will let you go about your days now, and I look forward to continuing this. And I'll see you next week for the Constitution call, and then we'll keep this going for the Ambassador and beyond. So peace and love.
Thank you. Hasta pronto.
Mhm.